There are now 3 sixth-round quarterbacks with winning records. Tom Brady, Tyrod Taylor, and Brandon Allen!
Yeah, baby!
His Minshew's 500 now. He's not over 500, so.
He sucks.
Come on, jump! Just give you the floor, Nick. If you want to do your victory lap, it's this would be the time right here, my man.
No need for me to do a victory lap.
Oh, we're humble now. Okay, I see how it is. Okay.
No, listen, I said this watching tape on Brandon Allen. I knew what I expected from his skill set. We just needed to see it play out on the field, and we needed to see what type of game plan Rich Scangarello was going to employ to allow that skill set to shine. But it came out. It wasn't one of those debuts that we're going to say, wow, we remember where we were when this happened. But it was all about being efficient with his throws, and that's what he did. So, I mean, I'm proud of him for going out, being a sixth-round quarterback, playing the way that he did. Family was in the stands. There were a lot of people rooting against him. But to me, this is where you stand up as a player.
Who was rooting against him?
I mean, there were several people, rooting against him.
What?
Saying, well, he's not going to do that well. We're not expecting that much out of him.
Rooting against him?
What do you call it? It's not rooting in favor of him.
It's being realistic.
That was the expectation, but that is far from rooting. Yeah, listen, man, nobody's more fired up for Brandon Allen and the Broncos than I was. And no, that was not my expectation. He exceeded that without a doubt. Hats off, man. Hats off to Brandon Allen. It was a game in which it was you set it up appropriately. It's not exactly something you're going to write home about. I mean, he was 12 of 20. It wasn't like incredible, but for a dude that had not played football in 4 years to come out and lead the team, and apparently just listening to the guys like Dalton Reisner in particular talking about the confidence and the poise that guy had in the pocket, really refreshing. You know what was the most refreshing thing, though? Seeing a quarterback that could actually pick up a first down with his feet. That was what was refreshing.
Yeah. Whether Brandon Allen, how he does the rest of his career, it's a cool story on the first game of his career, no doubt about it. I found myself so happy for him and for the team and for the fans. It was exciting. And there was this crazy energy in the locker room afterwards.
Great job, man. Knew it was going to be that way. They're all that way. We finished one with a big stop. 3rd and 1. -4. Philip Lindsay, big run. Stay in bounds. Brandon Allen, 12 for 20. 193 yards. Quarterback rating of 125. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is.
I appreciate you guys. Joe, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everything you've done for this team so far. Let's get a few more now.
Everybody just keep working, man. Keep listening to the coaches, and let's just keep grinding, man. Grinding on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Grind.
Well, they are grinding. They've been grinding. So it's good to get a win. And I'm sure it feels awesome. And they have an entire week off. That is a little unusual around for the Broncos, as I remember. A full week off. You say, Tyler, that you've gone through that before, but you say, Nick, that you always had a day or two in there, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, playing for Coach Shanahan, we always had a day of review, and that second day, we would come in and get a light jog in, light work, and then we would go get out of the building, but never this amount of time off. And for me, I'm a little perplexed by this because you have a good Minnesota team coming up after the bye. And I know you want to really, give the guys a gift because they just won a game. But to me, you don't want to give them that much time off.
They need this. They need this. They
Really?
need to go reset. They need to go recover. It's funny. I mean, I guess I got the softer Shanahan. I don't know. But, I mean, my rookie year, I distinctly remember that we got the entire week off because I immediately booked a flight to go to Vegas. And the next day, I ran into Mike Shanahan at the blackjack table, and I thought I was about to get cut. And I was like, wait, I'm not getting cut. He's here also. And then when I played for him for the Redskins, matter of fact, Mike never kept us. We had the full week off every single time I played for him.
Okay.
So it's not unusual. I'm really happy for the guys that they get to go into the bye week off of a victory. And I'm really happy, just really quick, going back to Brandon Allen.
Sure.
Man, hats off to Cortland Sutton. Hats off to Noah Fant. Because without those two guys, Brandon Allen's day looks average to below average. But Cortland Sutton makes a phenomenal catch on that touchdown, which really no wide receiver had any business catching, but he did. Noah Fant pulls out his inner Gronkowski and shakes off two tacklers, takes it 75 yards. First time in his Broncos career that he has a defining moment in a Broncos uniform.
Yep.
And those two guys made plays for their young quarterback.
Yeah, it was great to see. It was exciting, and even the first touchdown drive he had to scramble to pick up a first down on 3rd and 8. He threw a ball up to Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton looked like Peter Pan flying through the air. It was insane. Yeah. And, a lot of times that particular pass thrown that way gets picked off. I mean, the athleticism of Cortland Sutton is, holy cow, what a play. Brandon Allen had a weird play where the ball bounced up and kind of came back to him. That ball could have gone anywhere. The ball fell mysteriously through Myles Garrett's hands, which was like, wow. But, sometimes you feel like you're due some of those breaks, considering how many things had gone against you. And why not? And you got to take advantage of those as well. The Browns were 1 for 5 in the red zone with Odell Beckham Jr. and with Demetrius Harris. Remember, I was worried about Demetrius Harris?
He should have had a touchdown.
And I said, hey, listen, he's not going to catch a million footballs, but in the red zone and 3rd down, look out for this guy. And sure enough, there he was, wide open.
Yep.
Exactly where he was when he played against the Chiefs and got the 2-point conversion against the Broncos years ago. There he was again. And the ball went, I watched that again. I don't think he had to jump. I think he could have actually just reached up and grabbed the ball and maybe, dragged his toes, but he's not a natural receiver. He's a natural basketball player that's playing that position. But at 6'7", it was cool. Like everything that could go the Broncos' way seemed to go the Broncos' way yesterday.
Yeah, and I was really surprised at the outcome as far as the production from, Baker Mayfield. I figured that with wide receivers like Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr., who made 2 sensational grabs in the game, I thought they would find a way to get him more touches, and that's kind of been their problem. Not being able to protect up front, turning the ball over, not playing great defense in the back end as far as tackling is concerned, and not giving, Odell Beckham Jr. more touches. But the Broncos defense, they came to play. And the issues that this team has been having in this 2019 season hasn't really been the offense. The defense have really stood tall, and to be able to play that way against a very talented offensive team and hold them to 1 and 5 in the red zone, that's sensational. That should be applauded.
Our defense has been doing a lot of things really well for really almost the entirety of the season, if we're being totally honest here. But 2 things they're doing in particular well is 3rd downs. The Browns were 6 of 15 on 3rd down, and they were 1 of 5 in the red zone.
If we looked at the stats, except for the final score, you would absolutely think the Cleveland Browns won that game and won it relatively easily.
They had like twice as many plays as us.
They had more first downs.
Yeah.
Higher 3rd down percentage.
We were 33% on 3rd down. They were 40%.
Dominated time of possession.
We're still terrible on 3rd down on offense, but
yeah, I looked at the numbers after the game and I was like, oh my gosh. Wow.
They had the ball for 35 minutes. We had the ball for 24.
Yeah, and the only reason we
35-30, 24-30.
we got up to even that 24 was because the Broncos could kneel on the ball for 2 minutes because the Browns were out of, it really was a 13-minute differential. And by the way, my favorite play of the game, for sure, and I got to give props to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco properly turned the screws a little bit on this Broncos offense and the way they went out about business. For them to go Wildcat, and it wasn't a crazy throw, but Wildcat to get that first down, to cinch up the game. First time we had seen it all year. Thing of absolute beauty. Philip Lindsay having enough smarts and being coached well enough to slide down instead of go out of bounds.
Yep.
I mean, hats off. Way to grind out the clock and not put the defense in a position where they had to do something.
Well, that's a testament to Rich Gangarello and changing of the game plan. And I have to ask you guys, I mean, if Joe Flacco is the quarterback and he's on the center, a lot of the plays that we saw Brandon Allen, utilizing, could you use those same plays if Joe Flacco was on the center? Because we saw we saw boots.
No.
We saw him get us.
You're right. The boots looked so good, man. They looked so much better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, did they?
You think
look
on
better.
3rd and 8 on that first drive that Sutton caught that Flacco could scramble for a first down?
Here's
on 3rd
how
and 8?
I was answering the question.
Come on.
Do I think that with Joe Flacco at the helm, we could have won that game? I do, and I'm not trying to rain on the parade here, but look, we had 300 yards of offense, and we had about 230 of those come on about 6 plays. The majority of those plays were other players making plays, not what the quarterback did. Now, the bootlegs, man, did that look night and day different. And man, was it nice to have somebody scramble. But I'm just keeping it real here. Brandon Allen didn't exactly win that game. Our playmakers won that game.
Well, you have to.
He didn't lose the game.
Well,
no, he did not.
You can't say that without giving Brandon Allen his just due, because Fant doesn't get those catches without, Brandon Allen delivering those passes on time and on rhythm, because there were a lot of plays that he made from being under center. And this is where I believe Drew Lock struggles so far, and that's why he hasn't been put in the lineup and hasn't been practicing yet. When you're in that under center position and you're coming back, you got to get the fake to the running back, and then you turn your back to the defense. So many things that can change before the ball is snapped, and to have the presence of mind to snap his head around, get his feet square his shoulders, and deliver a throw to Noah Fant. I mean, for me, that was a thing of beauty, and I don't think Joe could actually do it because we haven't seen it.
Well, Brandon did it, so let's celebrate Brandon.
Absolutely.
I mean, no doubt about it. He deserves to be celebrated.
I will say, too, man, it was kind of cool, like the Philip Lindsay touchdown run. Dalton Reisner's pulling. Andy Janovich is doing Jano things, right? Philip Lindsay is
26 plays, by the way.
Is patient enough. I know. They're fine. They're using them. Deontay Spencer is running down the field, getting in the way. And I think Philip was untouched on that play. I don't think they laid a hand on him.
No one touched him. And for me, when we always talk about this offensive line and how bad they are, I mean, Dalton Reisner, if there's a guy on this team, and I don't know if the team has like team awards, he should get like the best offensive player, because his ability to pull out on those power O plays and lead up, and then Jano's right behind him. I mean, Philip Lindsay has talked about it all season long, saying, okay, well, we don't understand, everyone on the outside, what's going on with that offensive line. He's talked about Dalton Reisner and some of those offensive line guys and what the job that they've been doing. But, I mean, I've been really impressed with this young guy. I mean, Dalton Reisner, man, the way that there's just athleticism, the toughness, the guy to pull around, to create those holes, to make it easier for whether it's Philip Lindsay or Royce Freeman, to me, you do definitely have to be happy about that going into a bye.
Congratulations to Noah Fant. Oh, my God. That must have felt great for that guy.
Got the monkey off his back.
I tell you what. It was, 3 targets, 3 catches, right? I get that right?
Yeah, 3.
Well, 4 targets, 3 catches, 115 yards. And this beauty.
And DeWindsey looking out from the side. They were coming hard. And that's Noah Fant breaking tackles in the secondary. There he goes. Foot race. Ward can't get him. He's in for the touchdown. 75 yards.
Cleveland does suck at tackling. I'll give you that. I mean, and they weren't a good tackling team coming into this game. They fell apart on that particular play. But, hey, man, you got to make it tough to tackle people, right? And there's a moment watching Noah Fant streak down the sideline, holding the ball like a loaf of bread, not really textbook sort of, it was kind of a caveman sort of, Rob Gronkowski.
It was
sort
a keep
of,
to leap.
Me run with Paul,
It was a keep to leap.
Down the field. That was just totally awesome.
Yeah, it was. And that play, it didn't really feel like anything spectacular happened in it as far as the way that he broke the tackles. But you know what was spectacular? You watched a tight end take the ball 75 yards and not get caught. That doesn't happen in the NFL very often. There's only 3 or 4 tight ends in the NFL that can run 75 yards without getting hawked.
It was awesome. And, yeah, Allen had to get him the ball. And on that particular play, Garrett Bowles decided not to even touch the guy.
Did you see it?
You know, not right away, but, I mean, Bowlesy, holy cow, dude. My goodness.
He got Allen destroyed on that play.
I mean, that was a lookout block.
It was. You know, ball got out, and so nobody's going to notice unless you're watching offensive line play. But yeah, he got him destroyed. You know, I don't want to go into Bowlesy yet because I got thoughts on Bowlesy, but I don't want to ruin the vibe just yet.
All right, we'll get into Bowlesy later, and the coach had some interesting things to say about him. Fellas, is it clear? Not that there was a lot of doubt about it, but is it clear the Broncos, at least as a starter, need to move on from Joe Flacco?
Yeah, absolutely. Most people don't want to hear that, but you know, we don't know what Drew Lock is just yet. Maybe by season's end, we'll find out something. But right now, looking at how Brandon Allen handled the position, I think it's safe to say that Joe Flacco's days are over.
Yeah, I think that Flacco's days were numbered, or probably over. That's a better way to put it. They were over, regardless of what Brandon Allen did, regardless of what Drew Lock was going to do.
Why? Why specifically?
Well, is he the future of this team, DMac? I mean, is he?
Well, we said he was in his prime. So
well, we didn't say that.
No,
that's for sure.
Yeah, I know that John Elway said that, but that was before the season, and then we got to watch a lot of football, like half a season worth of football, and we all know that he's not in his prime, and we all know that he's not the future of this team, and so no matter what happens with Brandon Allen and Drew Lock, his days are more than likely over. Now, we are tied to him financially next year, and at least in dead money, so it's not like a guarantee, but Brandon Allen did enough to warrant another game, for sure. And I want to see more out of Brandon Allen. And it was exciting. But it was not like I wasn't drooling over the performance by any means. But he did enough to make me want to see what it is. My curiosity, here's where it gets interesting. What if Brandon Allen balls out over the next 2 or 3 weeks? What if he gets better and better and better every single week until when Drew Lock is ready, Brandon Allen is actually playing the best football that we've seen yet?
He's going to get Minnesota and Buffalo no matter what. No matter what, he's got Minnesota and Buffalo.
Yep.
And boy, that will be a stern test, both of those teams. And Minnesota lost yesterday, but that's a tough game on the road, and Buffalo is 6-2. Okay? And playing in Buffalo is no easy task. And whatever you think about Josh Allen, Buffalo's defense is for real right now.
Yes, it is.
But you never know, and we'll see, and it's exciting. And instead of sitting here at 2-7 where things could have gone all wrong and we would have been gnashing our teeth, instead we've been, given a moment. And I love it. And, a couple of the ding-dongs on the morning show are trying to lump me into Zach in terms of a guy who's rooting for them to lose for draft position. I have not ever said that. I would never say that. I don't know why I get sort of lumped in on that. That is just not true. I am not a guy who wants to lose for draft position, especially when it's unclear, like, who you would even take anyway. Like, who is it really going to be? This is a more complicated year than a couple years ago. A couple years ago, it was simple. You had taken Case Keenum, which meant that you didn't believe in Paxton Lynch anymore. You didn't believe in Trevor Siemian anymore. And you had a bunch of great quarterbacks who were available. It was simple that the right thing to do was to take a quarterback. I can't say that's the case this particular year. The only quarterback that I really like right now is Herbert out of Oregon. That's it. I don't know about the rest of the guys. Maybe we should spend some time this week kind of digging into him. But I like Brandon Allen. It was cool. The history tells you 6th-round picks don't work out, but that was awesome. Drew Lock, I don't know. I want to see him.
So if Brandon Allen's balling out, if he's balling out and he gets better every single week.
Do you put in Drew Lock?
No, I'm not saying do I, because I do.
I think you have to, don't you?
I personally, no matter what, am putting Drew Lock in this year.
So
but
when
do the Broncos.
So
I would hope so.
if Brandon Allen is on pace and he's doing what you're predicting, he's playing well, right? To me,
Does he beat Minnesota?
if he's playing the way that he's
God,
playing,
if they beat Minnesota, I don't know, maybe.
with after the bye, they beat Minnesota and they beat Buffalo. I mean, you have to stick with him. You have to push back the Drew Lock situation.
If Brandon Allen could lead the Broncos to victories at Minnesota and at Buffalo,
I'm going to take the victories out of it because that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot. But let's say the dude throws for 275 in each game, no interceptions, and 2 TDs. That's what I'm talking about. Like, just personally playing good football.
you know what? Maybe. And you know what's exciting? We have this to look forward to.
Have the
I mean,
conversation.
It is a Victory Monday. Del Frisco's has brought in food. Thank you to Del Frisco's. Of course, I was the only one to actually pick the Broncos to win.
Are you bragging?
What do you mean? Nick didn't?
Nick did.
I thought Brandon Allen was going to crush it.
No, I said he was going to crush it, but the Broncos would find a way to lose the game late by field goal, which almost happened.
You're not joking.
Which almost happened.
You're not joking. They had to stop them on 4th down, and Cleveland had the ball in their hands, and they could have taken the lead.
I don't think you can take the Browns after all that.
But we thank Del Frisco's, and there was only 3 of us at the radio station that took the Broncos. Most people thought the Browns were going to win, and it feels great. And it's a happy Monday, and they go into a bye week, and now we can trash Garrett Bowles.